Hey guys, this is Doug with Cold War Collectors, and today I'm going to be talking about Night Day Camouflage. Now, Night Day Camouflage originated in 1983. Basically what happens is there was really no digitalized pattern to counter Soviet night vision, so they came up with this pattern. Now, the Army and the Marines first started issuing it, and it was designed to defeat Vietnam-era Soviet night-produced night vision. Now, This is what they were familiar with, and this is what they would have been expecting. Now, it was a 5-length parka with baggy trousers designed to be worn over standard combat clothing. So basically, it's an oversuit. Now, I've also seen some British using this in Desert Storm, but I believe it was very small amounts. But I could be wrong. I know that they said some people would private purchase these. I think they said some Delta forces would private purchase these in the 03 invasion. I've seen a few pictures of U.S. Delta Special Forces wearing these very early on in the invasion, as well as some U.S. troops that weren't necessarily that well equipped. So sometimes I've seen these in the 2003 invasion. These were used in the 91 war in Kuwait, which is called Desert Storm or Desert Shield. And I forgot what the Iraqi name for it was called. Now, the problem with this was designed to defeat older night vision goggles that were made by the Soviets, and it was designed for an older type of night vision. So the newer night vision, which the Soviets were using, could easily see this. It couldn't confuse it. But the thing was, the Iraqi army, they were using small amounts of Soviet night vision goggles, mainly the older type. So this could not be seen by the older type. However, most of the time the Iraqis didn't really use that many night vision scopes during the 91 war, so this was really pointless. But from what I've heard, soldiers actually liked it, and what would happen is you'd be wearing your regular uniform, and you just wear this over, so it would keep you warm in the night, because in the desert it drops down really cold in the middle of the night. So there's even some, I'm just saying this as an example, there were even some pictures of some Iraqis wearing winter uniforms in the middle of the desert. But that's basically an example about how cold it gets in the desert, and which is completely not necessarily helpful. But the pants are a darker pattern than the shirt. The pants are dated 1983. I'm not certain when this shirt is dated. I know it's a first pattern though, but I'll show you why I can't necessarily find out what date it is. It has this original tag, large anorak, and doesn't really say what year it is. It just has Prestige Apparel Manufactured Industries, and it doesn't have a DLA code on it. So I'm not certain if this was a private purchasing. I don't think it's a civilian one, because I've never seen civilian ones, and I don't think they made civilian ones. Now, the thing is, this wasn't really used that much after Desert Storm, because it was pointless. Because they stopped making these in the mid-90s, and the camouflage itself wasn't necessarily effective, as I said before, because it was outdated and it wasn't useful, but sometimes people liked it. And I think they said that there were sometimes people who would cut them up into helmet covers, but I've never seen any pictures of that. That's just something I heard. Sometimes they would put it over the M88 Pascat helmets, but I think that's probably all, though. But what would happen is, I know they said that there were small amounts of, when we invaded Iraq, we gave small amounts of these to the Free Iraqi Army, which were the pro-U.S. Iraqi forces that were fighting alongside U.S. troops, but it was very small amounts. I believe that's all. Well, one more thing. It has pockets, but the pockets would go to your uniform pockets, not this. This doesn't really have its own pockets. These two slit pockets are so that you can access your main pockets. It has pockets on the back, which actually can fit stuff in here, and it still has the original paper tags for the manufacturer. This one is date 105006. And another thing that's interesting about this, it was completely adjustable. Now, I know this is dated 83, but there's another thing that's interesting about this. It's very discolored here. I think this even might be the tan pattern, but this pocket's all messed up because this can go down into like a a pants pocket. However, it's also torn up so that you could access your shorts, like the, not the shorts pocket, but the pocket on the lower part of the leg. And another thing, it has a Velcro fly, and it can be tightened by string. It's basically the same with the shirt itself, just tightened by string. In the bottom, the waist, it has a pocket with a zipper here for maps. Sorry, there's a moth. But basically what happens, you put your maps in here, but that's what I've heard. Sometimes I've heard them saying they'd put other stuff in here, and it would have a hood, which also would be Velcro, and you can tighten it with a string. The cuffs also have Velcro, and I believe that's probably all.